You know that feeling, right? You ask an AI for something creative, something important, and you get back a response that's just bland, kind of generic. What if I told you the problem isn't the AI, but a single overlooked skill that changes absolutely everything? Today, we're going to move way past simple prompting and explore a new way of collaborating with AI that unlocks some incredible results. Okay, let's get into it. This quote right here, it just shatters the biggest myth about working with AI. We get so obsessed with finding the perfect prompt, the magic words. But the real power, it lies in the preparation. It's the mental framework you build before you even start typing. And that's the secret we're going to unpack today. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the prompting problem. Then we'll introduce a really powerful new way of thinking called the gardener's mindset. From there, we'll get practical with a framework called the cognitive canvas. And finally, we'll see how all this transforms you from just a regular user into a true AI whisperer. All right, so let's start with that frustration we all know so well. You have this brilliant, nuanced idea in your head. You type it carefully into the prompt box, you hit enter with all of these high hopes, and what you get back is basically a Wikipedia summary. Sound familiar? It feels a lot like playing a slot machine, doesn't it? You pull the lever with a prompt, hoping for this jackpot of pure genius, but you usually just end up with a generic, kind of soulless response. I mean, sure, it might be technically correct, but it doesn't have your voice, your context, or your insight. It just feels empty. And this leads to the most important question. It's so easy to blame the model and just think, well, I guess AI just isn't there yet. But what if the issue isn't the tool's capability at all? What if it's about how we're using it? What if we're trying to use a power drill when what we really need is a painter's brush? And that brings us to the solution. And it starts not with a new technique, but with a completely different mindset. It's time to stop trying to be a taskmaster, trying to control the AI, and start becoming more of a collaborator, someone who cultivates the perfect environment for great ideas to grow. This is such a great metaphor for that shift. For decades, our work has rewarded the chess master, the person who controls every variable and executes a perfect, predictable plan. But AI doesn't live in a predictable world. The gardener mindset is so much more effective. A gardener doesn't command a seed to grow. They create the perfect conditions, the right soil, water, and sunlight, and then they trust the process of growth. And this picture shows exactly why that shift is so vital. See, our old tools were built for complicated systems, like a watch. Lots of moving parts, sure, but ultimately it's linear and predictable. AI, on the other hand, operates in a complex system, more like an ecosystem. It's interconnected, it's adaptive, and things emerge that you just can't predict. Trying to play chess in a garden, it just doesn't work. So here's the bottom line. This isn't just a change in words, it's a huge shift in our entire relationship with technology. The old mindset saw tools as a way to automate human tasks, to do our work faster. The new, gardener mindset sees AI as a tool for augmentation, to help us think better, clearer, and more creatively. It's about amplifying our own intelligence, not replacing it. But look, a mindset is only useful if it leads to action, right? So how do we actually put this gardener thinking into practice? Let's move from the abstract to the concrete with a framework that really anyone can use. It's called the cognitive canvas, and I want you to think of it not as a prompt box, but as an artist's sketchbook. It's that private space where you can rough out your ideas, define your goals, and structure your own thinking before you ever touch the AI. This one simple act transforms you from a passive user just hoping for a good result into an active architect designing the outcome. What makes this framework so powerful is that it isn't built on some new, fancy technical skill you have to go learn. It's built on 3 fundamental human abilities you already possess: reflection for depth, engineering's thinking for structure, and a leadership mindset for direction. Let's break that down real quick. Reflection is simply pausing to ask yourself, what am I really trying to achieve here? Engineering thinking is just about breaking down a big, messy goal into a series of smaller, more manageable steps. In the leadership mindset, well, that's about owning the entire process. You decide what you should do and what the AI is best suited to handle. And these abilities translate directly into a super practical 3-part workflow. You start by gathering your data, your raw notes, your context, your goals. That's reflection. Then you move to processing, where you collaborate with the AI to explore and refine ideas. That's your engineering thinking.
And finally, you shape the output, making the final decisions and owning the result. That's your leadership mindset in action.
So we have the mindset and we have the framework. Now let's turn this into a set of simple, actionable steps you can use to start building your own cognitive canvas like today.
It's incredibly straightforward. First, before you write your next prompt, just take 60 seconds to define the true goal. What is the core meaning you want to convey? Second, stop asking for everything all at once. Break one big request into smaller, sequential steps. And third, after the AI responds, don't just copy-paste. Pause. Ask yourself, how did this move my thinking forward? It's a small change in habit that leads to a massive improvement in your results. Practicing these small habits has a profound effect. You stop being a passive consumer of AI outputs and become an active director of the creative process. You're no longer just getting answers, you're shaping the very way those answers even come into being.
And mastering this isn't just about getting better at your current job, it's about preparing yourself for the future of work. As AI becomes more integrated, new roles are emerging, titles like Agent Whisperer or Prompt Architect. These are the people who don't just use AI, they orchestrate complex systems of AI agents to solve problems we couldn't even dream of tackling before. Ultimately, AI isn't here to replace you. It's a tool, and maybe the most powerful creative tool ever invented. It's a brush just waiting for an artist. The canvas is yours to prepare. The only question left is, what masterpiece will you create?